Hello everyone, today in this video we'll be discussing the last module of object-oriented concepts, and before starting I would like to tell you that this module has two topics. The first one is event handling and second one is swings. Okay, this is a very new topic, and to understand this module you will take a lot of time. So at this point, if your exam is very near, so don't go for this module because it will be very lengthy and I'll be explaining very deep. Okay, because then only you'll be able to understand what this module is, and this has to do with a lot of Android development and such things. Okay, so fastly I can't do it. Okay, so I'll be going very slow. At this point you can exit the video if your exam is near and you haven't studied other modules, or else you can continue watching this video. Okay, and before starting, if you like this video, hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. So let's begin with the first topic, which is event handling. What is an event? See, event in our places like any function happening or any match or any news happening, those things are events, right? So in computer system, what is an event? In computer system, an event refers to a user pressing a button. Okay, like when you open any social media account, they will have the username and the password. When you enter the username, that's called an event. When you enter the password, that's an event. And here you will have login, that's an event. Here you will have the option of forgot password, that's also an event. Okay, this everything what changes are happening on the computer screen, that all are events. Okay, now in this module what we'll be learning is event handling. Means whenever a change happens at any part of the computer system, like if you open a Google tab, okay, means the Google sign will be there in your tab, right? If you click on this, what should happen? If you click on this, this is known as event, and this is the source of the event. Means what you're clicking on, you're clicking on the button which has the icon Google. Okay, if this happens, what changes should take place on the screen, that we'll be learning. Okay, so basically in this module, the first topic, which is event handling, under that three things you should know. Whenever we click any object or something here on the screen, at that time associated with that object there is a listener. Okay, listener is an object which will check for the changes happening on the screen. Okay, whenever a change happens, the listener will detect that change, and then it will notify to the user that the change has happened. I mean the system, not the user. It will notify to the system that the change has happened, and whatever we define in the code in the system, that whenever a change will happen, what should be taken place. Like for example, in this case, whenever I click on this icon here, Google, at that time I'll define the code here as the web page should open, in which you can see here Google, and enter the search. Okay, that thing will be shown. So this is an event, and the source is this is the listener, and what the listener should do, that is an action. Okay, having known about these things, we'll be learning about each of these steps in detail, considering many examples. Okay, so there are two event handling mechanisms. So there was an older version of Java 1.0, that was one of the handling mechanisms, and it had limited features. So that was replaced by the new handling mechanism, which is known as delegation event model. Okay, in delegation event model, we'll be having many more features to significantly handle a event in a much efficient way. Okay, so that's all about two event handling mechanisms. Then the next topic is delegation event model. So we'll be learning about this model in detail. Okay, so the concept is simple. A source generates an event. The button which the user clicks, this is the source, it generates an event, and the listener processes what is to be done. So there will be a listener associated with the button, which is like button listener, and that will process what is to be done. Okay, in that listener object we will define a function. Means if the button is clicked, at that time what should be done. Okay, so whenever a button is clicked, this listener will do that process. Okay, like suppose the button is to switch on the camera. Okay, so whenever I click the button, at that time camera will be on. To on the camera, that code I will write here. Okay, so this is the concept of event handling. Okay, so we'll be discussing some terms here. What is an event? An event is an object that describes the state change in a source. Okay, so there is a source here, button, and it what is an event? Event describes a change in the source here. Okay, if the button is clicked, it will be in the clicked state. If it is released, it will be in the released state. Okay, so this is an event. Event could be generated by a person interacting with the elements in a graphical user. Means in the video editing or photo editing apps, at that time many options are there, like changing color and all. If a user clicks some color like red color, at that time what object should become red, that will be displayed. Okay, so events could be generated in that way. And the second way, events could be generated directly by interactions, without direct interactions. Like suppose that in your alarm clock, you'll have a timer, right? if you set for 0 10, after 10 seconds the timer will timer will be over, and there will be a sound of that when the timer gets over, and there will be blinking lights on the screen. Okay, these are the two things when the timer gets over. So what is the source? Source is the timer. And how what is the listener do? Listener will see if the time became 0 0 0 or not. When this happens, the listener will detect the change, and what it will do, it will do two things. It will sound the alarm, and then it will change the display of the screen, means different color screen will become. Okay, so that's the two things the listener should perform when a change will happen in the source. Okay, so this is the indirect event occurrence, means we are not doing anything, a timer will automatically become 0 and the change will happen. Okay, the next topic is event sources. You see, we already discussed event sources. A source is an object that generates the event. Okay, and a source must register listeners in order for the listeners to receive notifications. So if there is a source here like button, it should register listeners. Okay, it will not have initially any listener, it will register a listener to notice any changes in that source and do the particular task. Okay, first registration is important. Okay, so what's the syntax of a listener? See, listener will have the syntax as follows: public void add type listener, means what is the type of listener you are doing, means for button or for keyboard or for screen or for mouse and so on. Okay, and type listener, an object will be created. Okay, so for example, a method that registers a keyboard event listener is called add key listener. So if keyboard is here, that's the source. If it wants to register any listener, what it will do is it will add a key listener function. So what this will do is, see, if this function is like this is the box here, inside this box this function is there. Okay, this is the listener. It will detect any key if it is pressed or not. If key, suppose A is pressed, at that time what should happen, that will be defined inside this listener. At that time, suppose in the notepad A will be shown. Okay, so that's the function that should take place, and this is the event which is happening, means user pressing the key and the listener will detect that change and do the function. Okay, that's an example for using the initializing the listener object and using that. Okay, and another one is mouse listener, means if a mouse button is clicked, what should happen, means see, if this is the screen here and the mouse cursor is here, that cursor everything will be stored in the memory, means at which x position, which y location it's pointing to. By using x and y coordinates we can get the location, and at that location what icon it is there, that will also know. And if the user clicks this, what should be shown, means it should open, or if the user right clicks it, it should show settings and open or open with that options. Okay, so that will be shown accordingly, means if this is clicked, a listener will be there for each and every click. Okay, means for left click one listener will be there, right click one listener will be there, which will be performing the specific operations. Okay, so this was about the syntax and the example of listener object. Okay, also we can remove a keyboard listener, means if we not require any keyboard listener as of now, at that time we can use this function like remove key listener and call this function to unregister the key listener. Okay, and event listener is a listener is an object that is notified when the event occurs. Okay, that's an event listener. It receives notification, must be registered and must implement methods, means firstly it should be registered and it should implement methods, means what should happen when change happens. Okay, if any change happens, what should be done, that should be implemented. Okay, and the next one is event classes. The classes that represent the events are not the core of Java's event handling mechanisms. At the root of Java event class hierarchy, event object is in the java.util, it is a superclass for all events. There is a superclass here which is called event object. This will have the main syntax of an event. Okay, means a change. Okay, that much only will be there, and will be inheriting different classes like for keyboard, mouse, speaker and USB and so on. Okay, and there will be defining the specific functionalities each should perform. Okay, so this is the superclass which is event object and will be inheriting many event classes. Okay, we'll be discussing about event classes in the upcoming topics. Event objects syntax is as follows: event object and the object and source, means which source it is, like button is clicked or paint color is chosen, or in the screen the login option is there, that is clicked, or setting is clicked in the menu. For all there will be sources. Okay, these are all the sources. So for each of these source will be having a listener, and that source is in a type of object. Okay, object means see here, int will store the integer values. So like that only, object is a high level data type which can store the source type. Means setting is an means for setting there will be many things. For implementing the setting option there will be many things in that, like int will be there, char will be there, icon will be there. For all that this is a separate object. Okay, for defining the setting there will be a separate class which will have all the features of setting, and object of this type is nothing but the object here. Okay, so if you want setting, we will be writing setting source. Okay, and it mainly has two methods, which is first one is get source. By calling get source we'll know which source the object is accessing. Okay, and the second one is toString, means if the source is button, at that time if we use toString this text will be returned, button. Okay, if you want to return the object we will use get source. If you want to return the just the name of the object, at that time toString will be used. Okay, and also get id will be used to return the id of the event. See, these are not this much only, there are many functions. Okay, for implementing many functionalities. So these are just some of the most widely used. Okay, like get source, to string, get id. Okay, there will be like get color, get image, and many other things. Okay, because mobile app is composed of many other functions. Okay, so these are some of the mostly used event classes which we need to know about. So each of these classes we will be discussing in detail in the upcoming topic. Okay, what is the first event class? It is action event. It is generated when a button is pressed. Okay, when a button is pressed, at that time this event will be generated. See here, consider for an example, if there is a button A and button B. Okay, if button A is clicked, at that time a separate listener will be there for button A, and the function will be performed. If button B is clicked, there will be a separate listener here which will be performing the different function. Okay, so this whole thing is known as action event. So action event is just used for when the button is clicked. Okay, there will be other things like adjustment event, when a scroll bar is manipulated. Means see here in the, see this is the scroll bar. Okay, when this is manipulated, at that time the adjustment is being called. Okay, so when I am moving this one, adjustment event class is being called. Okay, so that's the use of adjustment event. Okay, and component event is nothing but when the component is hidden, moved, resized, or become visible. See here, you have the options in your computer, right? When you open a web page, at that time 3 options will be there, right? In the top, to close the web page, or maximize or minimize the web page. Okay, to resize the web page and minimize the web page. So these are all nothing but the component events. When you click either of this one, at that time component event will be called. Okay, we have separated they have separated these events because it will be easier to handle when any error occurs. Okay, otherwise they could just make a single class object, means the main class, without inheriting, and include all that in it, but it will be very lengthy then. Okay, so they have divided the categories according to the specific function. Okay, and we'll be using the we'll be studying about the different categories. Okay, so another one is container event. Container is when generated when a component is added or removed from the container. See here, container, what it does is, see here, this is your mobile screen. Okay, when you are developing any app, at that time what you have to do is, it will be empty screen. So if you want in your app that it should show an image here and some text here, and here it should show any button. Okay, so these are the components. Okay, inside the container, this whole is a container which is containing these components like image view, text view, and button view. Okay, so the thing in which the components are placed is nothing but container. Okay, so if any change happens to the container, this class will be called. The next one is focus event. In focus event, what happens is, see here, in the web page you might have noticed that your start button is here in the laptop. At that time, whenever you are scrolling the web page, see here, if you are reading some article here, at that time if you click the down arrow key in your keyboard, at that time the web page will be scrolling, right? But when you click the start button, at that time the start menu will appear here. At that time if you click this one, this will not be changed, the thing which is here, that will be scrolled down. So the focus is changed from this part to this part. Okay, so when that happens, those changes are handled by focus event class. Okay, and input event class means there is an input here, means in Google search you will be writing, right? The text will be here, a cursor will be here, and you will be writing the text here. So whatever text is getting written here, that will be handled by input event. Item event is generated when a checkbox or a list item is checked. Okay, means you will have many options, right? Like if you're ordering something online, at that time it will ask you, right, do you want medium size or large size, or do you want any extras? So these things will be there, right? These check boxes are nothing but item event. Okay, and key event is generated when an input is received. Okay, means if any user clicks any keyboard value here like a or x like that, at that time the what should happen, that is handled by key events. Okay, and mouse event is for mouse event, means the clicks which you make, right click or left click, that will be handled by mouse event. And mouse wheel event is the between the mouse there will be a scrolling wheel, right? If you scroll, what changes should take place in the screen, that will be handled by mouse wheel event. And text event generated when the value of the text field is changed. See, text event means if you open a file here in your notepad, you have saved some file here, but you want to edit this value. When you edit that, the text event will be called, this class will be called, and the changes will be reflected. Okay, and window event is generated when a window is activated, closed, or deactivated or opened. Okay, so window is nothing but whatever app you open, at that time screen will be there like this, right? That's nothing but window. And if you make changes to the window, all those changes are handled by window event class. Okay, so these are some of the most common event classes. There are many more event classes, but in this module we'll be just looking at some of the event classes. Okay, let's see about each one in some detail. Okay, now see, the first one is action event class. It is generated when a button is pressed, and it defines 4 integer constants: alt, control, meta, and shift. Okay, see, it's not for all the buttons, means all the buttons are in the keyboard, it's not for all that. Okay, that is for key event. Action event class is just for these 4. Okay, so whenever you click a button, either of these should be included. Okay, so it has 3 constructors, means when an action event takes place, the syntax is as follows. See, I'll be taking an example, so don't worry about the syntax. Firstly, object, source, type, and string, or you can have object, type, string, and modifier, and along with that when also. So what do these things specify? Here the source refers to the reference to the object that generated this event. Okay, source is the object which generated the event. So when we call this function, at that time you have to pass from which source it is coming. Okay, so that is the source. And type specifies the type of data. Okay, means type means this one, 4 integer constant, right? Means alt is pressed, or control, or meta, or shift is pressed, that defines in the type. It is an integer constant, means it will have some value here. Actually it will be like 12, 13, 14 like that. Okay, so it is an integer value. So if that value will be like 13 here, it will be alt like that. Okay, and the next one is CMD. CMD defines command strings, means if the action happens, what is to be done, which command should be executed, that will be stored in command string. And the next one is modifiers. Modifiers indicate which modifier keys are pressed when the event is generated. Okay, so modifier is nothing but the alt, control, meta, and shift. It is just like the type, but with a bit different functioning. And the last is when. Okay, when if you use this parameter, it will also return at what time the event has occurred. Okay, so if I clicked 10 minutes ago, it will return the time which was 10 minutes ago. Okay, if you use this parameter. So based on different types of requirements, we will be using different types of action event classes. Okay, also some of the functions which we can use is get modifier to get which key is pressed, and get when. If you use this function, we will get the time. Get action command means what is the command to be performed, that will be returned. Okay, there are many other functions which are performing the specific tasks. So this was about the action event class. So let's move on to the next one, which is adjustment event class. It is generated by a scroll bar. When the scroll bar is there, right, it is moved up and down, at that time it is changed. Okay, there are 5 constants: block decrement, block increment, track, unit, and unit decrement and unit increment. Block decrement and increment means it is scrolled at a very fast speed. Okay, means a block of screen is scrolled up or scrolled down, whereas track means it will keep the track of where the cursor is right now. Okay, and unit decrement and unit increment means it is moving up or down by 1 unit only. Means one line is here, if you click the up arrow key in the keyboard, it will move 1 arrow up, right? That is the unit decrement and unit increment. Okay, so the constructor is as follows. We'll be having 4 parameters: source, id, type, and data. Okay, source refers to the object that generated this event, and type refers to the constant, and the type of function means type is one of the among these, means if the user has scrolled multiple blocks of code or just a single unit, or the user wants to track where the present location is. Okay, for that these constants are used, that comes under type. And data refers to the associated data. See here, suppose that this is Facebook and your friend has posted a pic here. Okay, it's just half shown. If you scroll up, what should be shown? The rest half image should be shown, right? The remaining half image should be shown, right? So where is this stored? This is stored in data. Okay, so in data it will be stored, and when you scroll up, at that time what associated data should be shown in the screen, that will be shown. Okay, functions associated with this class is get adjustable. This method returns the object that generated this event. Okay, if the Facebook app if the Facebook app you are scrolling the Facebook app, at that time the function get adjustable will return the Facebook app. Okay, so this is the function associated with the adjustment event class. Similarly, the next one is component event class. This is generated when the size, position or visibility of the component is changed. Okay, see here, means component can be anything. A web page, if you open here in your screen, at that time if you change the size of it in this way, or if you change in this way, or you minimize it or maximize it or close it, at that time the changes are happening, right? So that is handled by component event class. Okay, so it can be component hidden, means if you minimize, component moved if you change the position in the screen from here to here, and component resized if you change the size of the screen, and component shown means it is visible. Okay, component hidden means it is minimized. Okay, so these are the 4 integer constants, and the constructor is, it will get the source first, and the type means which type of data is being performed on the screen, means what type of function is being performed, and on which component it is performed. These 2 parameters specify that. Okay, and the function we have is get component. It will return the component which generated the event. Okay, the next is container class. It is generated when a component is added or removed from the container. So if you have an empty screen here and you open an app here, at that time the app will be opened here, right? So this is nothing but a component. A component is added. If you click the cross here, at that time it will get removed. So that's the function of container event class. It defines 2 integer constants. If a component is added, what is to be done? If a component is removed, what is to be done? Suppose that here is the screen and we have the X button here in the web page. Okay, if this button is clicked, at that time it should show the previous screen, which is the home screen, right? So when this is clicked, at that time the listener will be called, and the event class, which is the component event class, will be called, and which function will be passed? This one, second one, component removed. And when this is passed, the associated function should take place. It will check if this data is passed or this data is passed. Based on that, it will make the change. Okay, if this data is passed, the home screen will be shown in the screen, and if this data is passed, the whatever we clicked, that will be opened and shown in the screen. Okay, for that these integer constants are used, and the constructor is the same as follows: source, which source generated the event, and the type means is it added or removed, that will be specified, and component, what is component, which component is to be added, okay, on the source. If the screen is the source, the component is that which we clicked on the icon. Okay, means if Google we clicked, at that time Google web page should open. Okay, so Google web page is the component. Okay, and in the same way we have the get container function to return the container object, means which container we are performing the changes on. Okay, that will be returned. The next one is the focus event class. Okay, focus event means, I'll give you an example here. That start button example I gave, right? This that was one example. The second example is, if there is a text view here and you are writing some text here. Now if you click somewhere on the screen here, at that time this cursor will stop, right? And if you press any key after that, it will not be shown here. It will be shown only when you click here and then type, right? So that is the change of focus. Okay, so there are 2 integer constants here, focus gained and focus lost. Okay, and 3 constructors where we have the source, type, and is it temporary or not, and we have a other component. Okay, so what does it do is, it will see the source which call this event, and what is the type, whether the focus was lost or gained, and what is the temporary flag, means if the focus is temporary or permanent. Okay, that will be specified. The next one is input event class. When a key is pressed as an input, it's for alt, meta, control, shift, button 1 and graph and other keys, okay, which are different keys in the keyboard, okay, except from the alphabets and numbers. For those things the input event is handled, means the functions will be as follows, like boolean alt is down or not, means we have clicked the shift button, or caps lock is up or down. Those things will be checked by boolean function. If it is up it will be true, if it is down it will be false, okay. So that will be returned by these functions, and those things will be handled by input event class, okay. The next one is item event class. Item event class is for the checkboxes and the buttons, which you have many options will be there, right? In Google Forms and all, we'll have to choose one option among these. So those things will be handled by item event class, okay. It is generated when a checkbox or a list item is clicked, or when a checkable menu item is selected or deselected, okay. So there are two options here, select or deselect. So the constructor will be as follows: the source will be there, type, and the object to which the function is being performed on, and the state means it's selected or deselected, okay. And the next one is key event class. This defines for all the alphabets from A to Z, and for all the numbers from 0 to 9. Whenever a key is pressed, that will be recorded, and that will be made corresponding change, okay. So here the three states are: key is pressed, key is released, or key is typed. Key is typed means if we type multiple values in a short amount of time, that will be key typed, okay. And the constructor is as follows: source will be here, type, and long when means the time will be given by this one, and the modifiers means is it in uppercase or lowercase, that will be specified, and int code is the code for each letter, like ASCII code, and char ch, okay. So here the letter which you type, that will be stored here, okay. And the two main functions are get key char and get key code. If you want to know which letter it is, that will be written like A, and get key code will return the ASCII equivalent of that character, okay. And similarly we have for mouse events also. When a mouse is clicked, this constant is used. When a mouse is dragged, this constant is used. Mouse entered, mouse exited, means mouse entered and exit means there is a web page here. Is the cursor see, there is a specific part here in the web page, and is the cursor in this web page in this part or outside this part, that will be specified by mouse entered, mouse exit, okay. And mouse moved means if the mouse is moving now, or it's in the still position, or is it pressed or released, or the wheel is getting scrolled or not, that will be given by these constants. And the constructor is as follows: we'll have the source, type, and the time, and the modifiers, and the x and y coordinates, means in the web page at which location there is the cursor, and clicks will be counting the number of total clicks made, and triggers pop up means when you click something, at that time menu should come or not, that will be given by triggers pop up, okay. It's a boolean function, that means true will trigger a menu, or false will not trigger a menu, okay. And there are functions like get x and get y to get the x and y coordinates, and other functions like get button, get trigger, get click count, get location on screen, and so on, okay. And the mouse wheel event is for the scrolling purpose. There are two integer constants: block scroll or unit scroll. Block scroll is for multiple amounts of data, and unit scroll is for single line, okay. So the constructor as follows: we'll have the source, type, and the time, modifiers, x and y location, and the number of clicks, and does it trigger any pop up or not, and how much scroll is made, and the amount, and the count, okay. So these are the things which will be used to initialize the mouse event class, okay. And the functions are like get wheel rotation, get scroll type, and get scroll count, and so on, okay. And the next one is text event class. In this, the value is changed in the text or not, that will be specified, okay. So if there is a text box here, if, have we typed any value here? If I have typed like A, B, at that time this will be saved. If I make any change like C, at that time the text event class will be called, and the new change will be saved in it, okay. So it has two constants here, either 0 or 1, okay, if the text is changed or not, okay. And the constructor is as follows: the source and the type will be there, means the source means at which text box the change is being made, and type means whether the change is made or not, it's a 0 or 1, okay. And the last one is window event class, means when we open a web page, it's a window activated, if we close it, it's a window closed, and so on, okay. So these are the things constants which define the state of the window event class, okay. And the constructor is as follows: window source means which window the change is being happening, and the type defines the constant values. See, these are all the constant values. What is the type of the function which is being performed, that will be specified by the int type, okay. And the function will be like get window to return the window object. Okay, so let's summarize some of the most common sources of methods. First one is button, second is checkbox, choice means the circles will be there in Google form, and list means, see here, when you click something like to choose the country in your mobile phone, at that time when you click, many country name will appear, right? That is a list. Okay, and the menu item will be also like this only, and scroll bar is for the scrolling purpose at the right of your screen, and text component is for typing the message in the search box, and the window is the whole web page. Okay, so these are some of the major places where the changes happen, so they come under the event sources. After knowing about the event sources, let's discuss about the event listeners. Okay, listeners are created by implementing one or more of the interfaces. Okay, when an event occurs, the source invokes the appropriate method defined by the listener. Okay, when a change happens, at that time listener will be called and the appropriate function will be executed. Okay, so there will be different listeners for different sources. For example, for action event it will be action listener, for adjustment event it will be adjustment listener, and for component it will be component listener, and container listener, focus listener, item listener, key listener, and mouse listener. Okay, so the things which it performs is, for example, for key listener it will be key pressed or key released. For mouse listener it will be mouse clicked, mouse entered, or exit from any web page. Here, see, if the mouse cursor is in the web page it will be the mouse entered, and if it leaves the web page it will be mouse exited. Okay, in the same way we have the mouse pressed and mouse released. If we click the button of the left button of the mouse, it will be mouse pressed, or else it will be mouse released. And mouse dragged and mouse moved come under the mouse motion listener. Okay, if we move the position of the mouse, it will be either of these two functions. Okay, and mouse wheel listener will be the scrolling wheel here, which will be the in middle of the left and right buttons here. So if we move that, the function which will be called is mouse wheel moved. Okay, and same thing for the text also. If text has changed, the text change will be called in the listener object. And the last one is window focus listener. If the window which we are performing the task on, if the focus is on the window or on any of the other icon, okay, that will be specified by the window focus listener. The delegation event model to see how to implement the whatever we learned in real life. We'll be using two examples here, one for the mouse and second for the keyboard. Okay, and let's see how to implement the delegation event model. For that, two things we need to know. First one is we have to choose the appropriate interface. For mouse it will be mouse interface, and for keyboard it will be keyboard interface. After listening to that, we have to register to the event notifications. So let's start with the first one, which is handling mouse events. For this we'll be implementing two interfaces, mouse listener and mouse motion listener. In both of by using both of these, we'll be tracking the mouse changes. For example, there will be a screen here. In that screen, what we'll be doing is, if the mouse is clicked, it will display down in the screen. If it is up, means if the mouse is released, up will be displayed. If the button is clicked, it will display mouse clicked here. And if the mouse enters the applet area, means this is the applet area. If the mouse enters here, the appropriate message is displayed, or if it exits, that message will be displayed, and that message will be displayed. And we'll track the mouse location by using a star, by using the x and y coordinates of the mouse. Okay, and paint is the function which will be using to display the outputs defined above. Okay, like up and mouse clicked and exited or entered and so on. Okay, so by using these, how to implement is, first we will be writing public class mouse events. Mouse event is a class which we are writing to implement the above functions, and in this we will be writing all the functions which we mentioned above. And it extends applet. Applet is the main class, and we have to implement the interfaces. Okay, interface is not a class, it will just have the functions. It only declared functions. We have to define the functions according to our needs. Okay, so two interfaces which will be implementing is mouse listener and mouse motion listener. Okay, so first is to handle a mouse click. If the mouse is clicked, we will be writing the function void mouse clicked, and it will display the message mouse clicked. Same thing for mouse entered, it will be showing mouse entered, mouse exited, and button pressed or button released, up and down, and mouse dragged. Where it is dragging, by using the x and y coordinates, we'll be tracking that and showing the location. Then in each case we'll be using repaint. Okay, means the display is getting repainted with the updated values. Okay, and we are creating here two objects which are add mouse listener and add mouse motion listener. By using these two objects, we'll be implementing the relevant functions. Same thing we are doing for the keyboard also. First we'll be implementing the keyboard key listener interface, and using this interface, the functions which are relevant to us are overridden, and using this overridden functions will be implementing the keyboard functions. When a key is pressed, this event is called key pressed, and it calls the function which is key pressed. Same thing for key released will be called, the event key released will be called, and this one will call the function key released, and each of these function which is getting called will be implementing the relevant function. Okay, and when a key is typed, the key typed event is called and the key type function is executed. Okay, so let's quickly go through the code. In this code we have the class simple key which extends applet and implements only one interface which is key listener. Okay, in here to handle the key press, if the key is pressed, the show status will be key down. If the key is released, it will be key up, and if the key is typed, it will be whatever character we typed. Okay, for showing the status we'll be using show status, else we'll be using repaint. Okay, by using this we'll be showing the status of the whether the key is pressed or released or it is getting typed. If it is getting typed, what are the keys which are getting typed, that will be displayed here. Okay, so this was simple application of the keyboard and the mouse using delegation event model. Okay, coming to adapter classes, what is an adapter class? See here, if you don't use adapter class, the listener object is there, right? For each listener object there will be a class which has been defined earlier. Okay, so whenever a source changes, like a button is clicked, at that time this listener will see the change here and it will perform some appropriate functions here. Okay, that is fixed here. If you want to edit these functions, we can't directly edit, we have to use adapter class. What does adapter class do? It will give us the opportunity to write our own code. Okay, means when a button is clicked, what should be done, that we can edit here. For that, adapter class will be used and will be overriding the necessary features which you need to change. Okay, so an example is this. For mouse motion adapter class, it has two methods, mouse dragged and mouse moved. Okay, which are the methods defined by the mouse motion listener interface. Okay, see, this is the class here, mouse motion adapter, which implements mouse motion interface. Okay, what it does is, we have two functions here, mouse dragged and mouse moved. We want to edit the mouse dragged functionality, means when the mouse is dragged, we want a custom message to be displayed on the screen. So what we will do, we will implement this function here by using the adapter class, and then we will override the function and do and write here what we want to display. Okay, so the advantage is that if we don't need to override the both of the features, only what we need we can override that, the rest will be implemented automatically. This is the advantage of adapter class. The same thing is for the mouse moved also. If we just want the function mouse moved in our program, at that time we can implement this and ignore the other one. Okay, so some commonly used listener interfaces implemented by the adapter class are as follows. See here, we have different listener interfaces. So for each listener interface we have the adapter class. Okay, if you want to edit the component, we have component adapter. If you want to edit the container, we'll use container adapter, so on for the other listeners also. Okay, so if you want any custom functions to be implemented in these interfaces, we will override that particular function by using these adapter classes. Okay, so let's see an example here. The following example displays a message in the status bar of an applet viewer or a browser when a mouse is clicked or dragged. Two functions we are implementing, mouse is clicked or dragged. Okay, so see here, applet viewer is nothing but a web page here. So when a mouse is clicked here, at that time the message will be shown here, mouse is clicked. Else the message will be if the mouse is being dragged like this, it will be shown here, mouse is dragged. Okay, so let's see how to implement this function. Firstly, we'll be writing a class adapter demo which extends the applet. Okay, in adapter demo only we'll be making the two objects, one for the mouse click and another for the mouse drag. Okay, by using these two objects of the adapter class, we'll be creating a listener for mouse click and mouse drag. Okay, so these two objects will see if the mouse is clicked or dragged. Okay, and they will perform the appropriate functions. So what function it should perform, we are defining in the appropriate class. For mouse adapter, means for the clicks, what we will do is, we will override the mouse click function, and there we will mention that it should display the text that mouse is clicked. Okay, and for the mouse motion adapter, means for the drag function, we will override the mouse drag function, and there we will display the text as mouse is dragged. Okay, so let's see the actual code here. For each of this, for displaying purpose, we will be using show status. Okay, so let's see the code here. Firstly, we are making a class adapter demo which will initialize two objects which are mouse listener and mouse motion listener. These two listeners are added. Okay, and then after they are added, what they should do will be defined by extending the mouse adapter class, where doing the custom, are changing the default value and we are writing the custom value. Means the custom value is whatever message we want to display when the mouse is clicked. Okay, this for the clicking, and the second and the third one is for the dragging. Okay, so let's see the first one. Here we have two functions. First one is my mouse adapter, second one is mouse clicked. This is the constructor for initializing the object, and after it is initialized the listener is registered. At that time we'll handle the mouse click. How we'll do that? We'll use adapter demo dot show status mouse clicked. Okay, here we are overriding the function mouse clicked. Okay, initially when the function was in the main class, this was not there, so we extended mouse adapter to make custom changes to the mouse click. Means when the mouse is clicked, what should be displayed. Okay, for that the adapter class is used. Same thing for the next one also. When we are extending the mouse motion adapter, okay, for the dragging function. Here is the constructor, and here is the function to handle mouse dragged. When the mouse is dragged, what should happen? Adapter demo dot show status as mouse is dragged. Okay, by implementing the adapter class, we are doing the custom output of the functions. Means when the events happen, what should be displayed. Okay, that's the main use of adapter class. To inner classes, inner class is defined as a class defined within another class. Okay, so here's an example which displays the mouse pressed. Okay, we are defining a class whose goal is to display the message mouse pressed when any button is clicked. Okay, means if the mouse is clicked, mouse press should be shown on the status bar. So for that, what we'll do is we'll define a main class here which initializes this object. Okay, for defining the clicks. Then we are defining what the function should do. Okay, firstly what we are doing, we are writing a main class. In this, the object is created which handles the click. After it has been created, we will initialize it using a constructor, and then we will call the show status. Okay, so here are two steps which is happening. Okay, so firstly it's getting initialized here by using add mouse listener, and then what the mouse listener should do, it should firstly initialize it. Means the mouse listener, by using a constructor, it is initialized, and then the function which is mouse pressed, what should be shown on the screen, that is specified here. Okay, so this is a two-step process. So this same code can be combined within a single block using inner classes. Let's see how it is. This is a one-step process. Here we'll be making a new class here. Inside this class we'll initialize the mouse listener, and in the same class we will define the mouse adapter. See, in the previous class, this class is not ended here. See, this class starts from here and ends at this location. Okay, in between that these two codes are there. Okay, firstly we will initialize it, and then we will write the class within the, and then we will define the class within the outer class. Okay, so here the process will be faster because we need not create another object for showing status, because this is the same class, it can access the every function of the its parent class. Okay, so here it saves the code writing. If you compare with the previous one, here we will have one class here. See, this class starting from here and ending here. This is one class, and it makes the object of another class and then calls the function. This is a bit extra work for writing the code. So inner classes are used to save the code writing time. In anonymous inner classes, what we will do is we will write a class here, and while we initialize it like add mouse listener, at that time only we will define the function to be performed. We will not create an object or a class, but we will define the function directly here. Okay, and we will not mention the class name also. Okay, so this is a further compression of the inner class here, which is the anonymous inner class. Here what we do is we will create new mouse adapter, and this will be called here, which it is defined here, and then it will be called. Whereas what we are doing in this place is we are writing this code in the place of this only. Okay, without mentioning the class name. See here, add mouse listener is the same function which is here. See, this is the add mouse listener, and here only we are writing the code. Okay, and we are not mentioning the class name, but we are defining what the function should be performed. Used when there are a lot of classes and the code is large, we can use anonymous inner class to save the code writing time. Okay. Coming to swings, swings are a set of classes which provides powerful and flexible GUI components. Okay, GUI components include checkboxes, table, list, button, and much more. So in the previous topic, what we discussed is if any user presses the button or writes in some text place, at that time what happens is the listener will listen the changes happening here, and it will notify and make the appropriate code run. Okay, So what we discussed is the mechanism of this working, but how to implement this text view here and the button here and the other views here, that is defined by Swing. Swing has a separate class for implementing this one, which is text view, and implementing button and so on. Okay, so we'll be discussing the about the swings in this second half of the module. So the origin of Swing was like in the older version of Java, it was platform dependent. Swing is platform independent. Okay, so you can use the same swings in other platforms. Okay, and the second one is it was unalterable and it had many limitations, the older version of the Java. Okay, so to overcome these difficulties, Java introduced Swing. Okay, so there are two key features of the Swing. The first one is it's lightweight. Lightweight means it's entirely in Java and does not depend on the platform. Okay, so wherever a platform it implements, we can make changes by making changes in Java. Other one is heavyweight. Heavyweight means it's platform dependent. Okay, that means in that case, whatever change we make in Java, if it's supported by the platform, then only we can see the change, otherwise we can't. Whereas in the case of Swing, it's not the case, it's lightweight. Okay, and the second thing, second key feature is that Swing supports pluggable look and feel. See here, since we can implement the design and everything, like where to place the button here and what is the design of the button and other things, it's platform independent. Okay, so here we can separate the logic part and the design part of the app which you are developing. Okay, so logic part is developed by the other Java program and the design part is developed by the Swing. Okay, so it was not the case in the previous one where it was platform dependent, so we could not separate the logic part of the code from the design part. If you made any change in the design part, some side effects will happen in the logic part also. Okay, but here we can develop these both domains separately. Okay, so these are the two key features of the Swing. Okay, now let's discuss what is components and containers. See, this is your phone screen. Inside the phone screen there will be many text views and the image views and the buttons and other things, right? So these are the components. So the container contains these components. Okay, so that's the difference between container and component. Inside the container we can place components. Okay, so how we can implement the components in the in our app. If you want to place any button here, how can we place? Component class is the main class. We will be inheriting many subclasses, like for button J button will be inherited, and J table will be inherited, J list will be inherited, and other things. Okay, J text view, and there are many other features. Okay, so by using all of these features, what we do is whichever feature we want in our app to be, we will be implementing the object of that class. Okay, so the main it comes from the J component class. Okay, and the container is of two types: heavyweight, which we already discussed, and lightweight. Okay, heavyweight are the top level, which means the frame and the applet and the window and the dialog box. Okay, see, if this is the mobile here, at that time at the top level you will have some things which can't be edited, right? Which can't be edited, right? Like notification bar and setting bar and all, and the main heading of the app, those things cannot be edited. Okay, so whereas the lightweight are those which are present inside the container. There are two types of container. First one is the top level container, which defines the frame of the mobile itself, and the second one is the second level container, which is in second level container we can have the sub menus and sub views, in which inside this we can place different components. So suppose that this is a J panel. In J panel what we will have is this another type of container. See, this is the whole device, and inside that we have another small container. This is a top level container. Inside this we have second level container. In this container we can have text view or the image view. Okay, so this is also type of container, but it is second level. We can shift this place from here to here or from here to here, or we can resize it, or we can add or delete the components from here, and other features can be implemented or removed. Okay, so these are the two types of containers. Okay, heavyweight and lightweight. Then coming to Swing packages, means whenever we want to include any class, see, what is a package? Basically, package is a group of classes. Okay, so we'll have a class for button, we'll have a class for text view, image view, audio, video, everything will have a separate class, and these separate class are combined together in a package. Okay, so this is a package. So in Swing package we will have all the features which we need to add the buttons and the text views and the image views inside the app. Okay, for all of these the classes are there, and these classes are combined inside the Swing package. Okay, what are the components which you need to add inside the app? Those are present in the Swing package. Okay, so there are different types of Swing packages for different things, like Java X Swing, which we mainly use, and if you want a specific part of this main string, if we just want a specific part of this class, that time we will specify it by dot event or dot text. Okay, if we just want the text, we can just import this part. We need not import other parts of this class like the image view and all. When we import this part, every class of this package will be imported. Okay, that will cause usage of more memory. So if in our case, if we just want for an event, that in that case we can just import this package. Okay, it will just import the specific class which we need. Okay, it will not import all the rest of the classes. Okay, so that was about the swing packages. So see here, the main package is javax.swing. So will be, since we need to use multiple features, we will be using this function only, this package which is javax swing, so that many classes will be imported, but we will be using most of them. Okay, swing components like push buttons, labels, checkboxes. Okay, we will be discussing about each one of them in the upcoming topics. Okay, let's see how to create a simple swing application. This is a simple swing application. Here what you can see is the above taskbar here, which is having the text, a simple swing application, and here is the close button and resize button and minimize button, and inside the web page what we have is swing means powerful GUIs. This text is shown. How to create this one? Let's see. By using swings we can easily create that. For that we will be writing the first, we will be making a container. Inside the container only we will be able to add the components. So to create a container like this, what we will do is we will write jframe. This is the keyword, and the class name jfrm, new jframe. We are creating a new jframe, and inside that what text should be there, we are passing here as an argument a symbol swing application. So this line of code will create this one. Okay, then after that we will set the size, and then we will terminate the program. Okay, after that we will create a label. Label means any text, and inside that label the text should be swing means powerful GUIs. So this text will be created, and its name is JLab. Okay, then what we will be doing is we will be adding the text label inside the container. How we can do jfrm dot add JLab, then it will be added here. Then by using jfrm dot visible is equal to true, at that time this web page will be visible to us. Okay, so see how simple it is. It's a three-step process. First we'll be creating a container, then we'll be creating a text, putting the text inside the web page. Okay, and making it visible. Okay, previously what we discussed was an application. This to create a swing applet. What is an applet? Applet is a Java program that can be embedded into a web page. Okay, if the web page is this, if you are embedding any Java program, that's an applet. Okay, in this we'll be doing one thing. We'll be putting two buttons here. Whichever button is clicked, for example, if alpha is clicked, it will be shown alpha was pressed. If beta is clicked, beta was pressed will be shown here. How to implement this in the swings? By using swings. The code is as follows. We'll be having a class first, my swing applet extends japplet. We'll be having two buttons. First one is for alpha, second button is for beta, and we'll be having a j label. Okay, then firstly we'll be initializing the applet, means init function will be written, that's for initialization, and it will make a thread and run make GUI. Okay, then what does make GUI do? In make GUI, firstly we'll be setting the layout by using set layout. The layout will be set like this, and then we'll create two buttons, alpha with the name alpha and beta with the name beta. Okay, after creating the two buttons, after that we need to have action listener for alpha and the beta. Okay, what does action listener do? Action listener will look for the changes happening inside the code, and it will perform the specific function which we write here. So in our case we'll be adding an action listener for alpha. Okay, and then if any change happens, what it should do, it should set the text as alpha was pressed. Okay, and same thing for beta also. Beta also will add an action listener. If beta was pressed, at that time the set text will be beta was pressed. Okay, and then we'll add the two buttons to the pane, means content pane. Will be adding two buttons here, and after that we'll create a text based label and add it to the screen. Initially it will show as press a button, and depending on what we press, alpha or beta, the corresponding text will be shown on the screen. Okay, so this was an example of how to create a simple Java applet. Learning about some of the swing components. Okay, the first one is JLabel and icon image. JLabel is the easiest to use component. JLabel, what it does is it just displays the text or icon. You might have seen in your web browsers that some text or the icon will be there, which is just for the display purpose. If you click on it, nothing will happen. Okay, so the JLabel is used for that purpose. There are three constructors: JLabel icon, just to show the icon; JLabel string, just to show the string; and JLabel string icon and alignment. Okay, to show the string means any text view, and icon also, and where it should be aligned means if the string is here, it should image should be above it, or it should be on the side of it, or it should be below it. That thing will be determined by the align. Okay, so let's see an example here. And before that, if you want to fetch any image from the memory, we can use this function image icon and the file name here. Okay, so if you want to display like this, France, which is a text view here, and the France flag is there, which is the image view here. If you want to implement this, what we will do is, firstly we will create a class JLabel demo, and then we will write the initialization function as make GUI. So this will run the program. Okay, and inside the GUI function, what should be there? Firstly we will create an icon, image icon I is the image icon, which is the France GIF. This is the address of the image in the memory. Okay, so by using that, we will fetch the icon here. So the flag of the France image is stored in II. Okay, then what we will do is we will create a label. Label is like this. It can either have a text, or it can either have a text, or it can have a image, or it can have both of that. Okay, means a text and the image. So we are using the third type, which is a text and the image. Okay, so firstly we will be passing the text here, which is France, that should be displayed, and then the image II. Okay, and where it should be at the center. Okay, so that we are specifying. After creating this label, we are adding that label to the content pane. Okay, so this is the third constructor here, which we are using, the string and the icon and the alignment. Okay, and when we add that to the content pane, this will be displayed. Okay, and in the same way we can add text field also by using JText field. It allows you to edit one line of code. Okay, so three constructors, J field with one parameter, two parameter, and one parameter. Okay, so in this line of code, what we will be doing is, in this program, what we will be doing is, we will be adding a text field here, which will be having this is a test. Okay, so how we will implement is, firstly we will create a class JText field demo, and we will write the init function make GUI. Inside make GUI, first we will set the layout, and then add the text field by using new text field, JTF new text field, and then add it to the content pane. And then we will add an action listener to get the text of what the user has typed. Okay, so if this is the Google search here we will type something, right, and here there will be a listener. What the listener will do, whatever user has typed, that it will save. Okay, so here we are adding a listener, action listener, to get the text of what is being user is entering. Okay, after that, getting the text of from the keyboard, that will be shown in the screen. Okay, first what we will do, we will get the text, and then we will use the same text to show the status. Status means in the display screen, means here it should be shown what the user has typed. Okay, that should be done by show status get text. Okay, J button, J toggle button, J checkbox, and J radio button. Okay, so let's discuss each one by one. We will be taking an example also, and before that there are four functions. The first one is set disabled. Set disabled icon means if I give you an example, consider a web page here, and sometimes the web page doesn't respond, right? At that time the screen will be stuck here, and at that time the minimize button and the resize button will have like a little grayish color, right? That's the disabled icon. Means when an item is disabled, at that time what icon should be shown, that is specified here. Same for the pressed icon. If I double click any item, at that time its color changes for some time, right? The changed color icon is nothing but the icon PI. Okay, that will be specified here. And the selected icon means if I select any icon, its color changes, that is specified here. And the last one is rollover icon, means I just roll over my cursor over any icon, at that time what icon should be shown, that is specified in icon RI. Okay, so by using these functions we can set according to different events what icon should be shown. Okay, and we use two main functions, get text and set text, to get the text of the icon and set the text of the icon. Okay, means if I have a button here, at that time what should be shown in the button, that will be setting the text by passing an argument of string. Okay, so let's discuss an example for the first one, which is J button. Here it can have three constructors, either a button with only icon, means a button with only a picture here, or only string, means only a text here, or both icon and the string. Okay, so it will have the icon and the string both here, okay, inside the button. So in this what we'll be creating is a web page will be creating wherein we'll have 4 flags, and for these 4 flags we'll have these are all buttons. Okay, these are all J buttons. What happens is when I click any of these flags, at that time the respective name of that flag will be displayed in the bottom of the screen. Okay, like you selected, if I click on the Japan flag, it will be shown you selected Japan, or if I click on the Germany flag or the France flag, it will be shown you selected Germany or France. Okay, so let's see how to write this. It's a very easy code. Firstly, we'll be writing the class JButtonDemo, and then the make GUI will be written here. Okay, what it will do is it will initialize the GUI. In GUI we should define what should be shown. Firstly, we will set the layout, then add buttons to the content page. We need 4 buttons. See here, there are 4 flags, right? So we need 4 buttons. Okay, so that will be initializing here. First, by using to initialize the button, we'll be using JButton and the name of the button. I am using JB here, and then the name of the button France. Okay, I will be adding the text also and action listener also. After that, we are doing for the same thing for the Germany also, and before that we are fetching the icon also. Okay, by using image icon, then the location of the icon is Germany.gif. By that I will get the icon of Germany here, and then I am creating a button and setting the action command by Germany and adding that to the control pane. Okay, like that we will be doing the same for the Italy and the Japan also, and finally we will be adding a label like choose a flag. Then this flag will change, means this text will change based on the action listener. Action listener will see for the changes which button is clicked. Based on that action command will be shown here. It will be like you selected ae.get action command, means which flag I selected, that one action command as defined here. Like see, for example, if I selected Germany here, Germany's set action command is defined as Germany here. So at that time Germany will be returned at the place of this one, and it will be shown as you selected Germany. Okay, that was for the J button. Okay, now let's discuss the second one, which is J toggle button. In J toggle button I will have 2 options here, on or off. Okay, what's the speciality of toggle button is, normal button if we click and release, it will be going down and then coming up. Okay, but toggle button is not like that. If I click it, it will be in the clicked state only. Okay, and if I release it, if I again click it, it will be deselected. Okay, like that it is. If I click it, it will be on only. If I again click, it will become off. Okay, so it has 2 states, either pressed or not pressed. Okay, so let's see how to implement this one in using swings. Okay, so for this, firstly, what's the define the constructor here, J toggle button string str. In the str I will define what is to be shown inside the button, and then the code is as follows. Firstly, we will be creating a class here, J toggle button demo, and I will be creating a J label for displaying this one. Button is on or off. For displaying that text, I will be using a label, and then I will be creating a toggle button. I will be initializing it using init function, and then I will be defining what is GUI. In GUI, first I will set the layout, then I will create the label which says button is off initially, and then I'll initialize the toggle button. Okay, in the toggle button I will pass the string on off, so it will be having on off initially here, and then we will set a listener to the object. Okay, well, when we set the listener, what happens is, if I click the item, at that time what should be shown, that is specified. If it is selected, it should show button is on, or else it should show button is off. Okay, so this is how we will set a listener and the associated function with it. Okay, and after that we will be adding the text and the button to the content. Okay, so finally it will look like this, and its function is as follows. If I click it, it will show button is on. If I again click, it will show button is off. This was for the toggle button. The next one is checkbox. Checkbox means if I have multiple options here, if I select any option, it will show what option I have selected. Okay, let's see how to implement that. The syntax is as follows: J checkbox, and the string I pass here as argument. Okay, whatever string I pass, that will be shown in the screen here, means C or C++ or Java or PHP. Okay, so how to implement this is, first I will write the initialization function, in which I will write make GUI. Let's define what is GUI. In GUI, first I will set the layout, then add the checkbox by using J checkbox, and then I will have the name of it. First I will write here C, the same thing for C++, then for Java, and then for Perl. Okay, So I'll have 4 things here, and for each one I will be adding a item listener, and then I will be defining the label as set language, select language. Initially it will show select language, okay, and then based on what item I choose, it will be shown. See here, what I am doing is void item state changed. If I select any item, at that time the item state should change, okay. If it is selected, at that time what is selected will be shown. How I will get that what is selected? By get text, okay. Get text will return the name of the button which I clicked, okay. That is exactly as in the screen shown here. If I select Java, the get text will return Java, and Java will be in the place of this one, and then is selected is printed by default, okay. So whichever I select, that will be printed here, okay. So this is for the checkbox. The last one is radio buttons. Radio button is same as the checkbox, but here only at a time one option can be selected, okay. Unlike the previous one where we can select multiple option also. Like see here, we can select both of these at the same time, but in radio button what we can do is only one option at a time, okay. See here, it will be like this. If I select A, it will be shown you selected A, else if I select B, it shows you selected B, else if I select C, it will show you selected C. Let's see how to implement that. Before that, the constructor is as follows: J radio button and the string which I pass here. The string will specify what should be displayed along with the radio button, okay. So let's see the code implementation of it. Firstly I'll be defining class here, and then I'll have the init function, and inside that I'll have GUI function as set layout. Then I'll create the radio button here, radio button B1. Then in the first one I'll display the text as A. Then I will set action listener and add it to the screen, okay. Same thing I will do for B and C, okay. After I do for B and C, at that time add it to a button group, okay. What does a button group do? Inside the group all these things will be there, like A, B and C. This is considered as a single group, okay. So then it will be easy to handle. Then I will have a label as select one, okay. This will be shown initially, and after that whichever I select, based on that get action command, that string will be returned. Like if I select A, this will return A, okay. Then it will be shown as you selected A, okay. So this was all about the swing buttons. Let's move on to the next one, which is J tapped pen. J tapped pen is a mixture of the two concepts which we have already learned, which is, see here, this is a container, okay. Inside the container we have 3 tabs here. Whichever tab I open, it should show different things here. So what we will do is, first we will create this container and we will initialize 3 tabs, and then we will define what each tab should contain. So for example, in the first tab there is city names, okay. So if I click on this, it should show me New York, London and Hong Kong, okay. And in the second place, if I click colors, it should show me a checkbox with red, green and blue. And in the third place, if I click it, it should show flavors, which is a menu here, and it's having vanilla, chocolate and strawberry, okay. So these are 3 tab buttons here. First we will initialize the tab buttons, and what each tab button should do we will define in a separate class, okay. 3 classes we will use, okay. So let's see how it is. Before that, the syntax is as follows. To add the tab, we will write a string name, means what is the name of the string of the tab, means if this tab I am writing, the name is cities, okay. And then the component means if I click on this tab, which component is shown here. This is button component, this is checkbox component, and this is menu component, okay. So that will be specifying by component here, okay. So let's go through the general procedure. Create an instance of J tabbed pane. So what it does is it creates 3 tabs here, means how many number we specify, that will be created, and add each tab by calling add tab. We will be calling add tab to add each tab, like its name and what component it is, and then we will be specifying what each component should do, okay. In each component what should be there, that is specified at last, okay. So let's go through the code. Firstly I will be writing the class name and using the initialization function make GUI, and then inside the GUI I will have the tab panes as first is for cities, second is for colors, and third is for flavors, okay. By using this, the 3 tabs will be created, and then we will define what each tab should do. The city panel should have buttons, so I will be using J button. First button should show New York, then London, then Hong Kong, then Tokyo, okay. So 4 buttons are there in the first tab. Then the second one, it has colors, but it has checkbox, right, like it was red, green or blue. So I will be writing J checkbox, I will be writing the name, then J checkbox and green, and then J checkbox and blue. Okay, so 3 checkboxes are defined in the second class. This will be shown in the second tab. Okay, and in the third tab we will have flavors here. So inside the flavors I have the combo box. Okay, in the combo box I have these 3 things. See here, combo box is nothing but we'll have a mixture of 2 things. First one is menu here and second one is text here. If I click on this, the different text will be shown, otherwise only this will be shown like this. Okay, if I don't select anything, the name will be shown here. If I press on this, then this will be displayed. Okay, so this you can you might have seen in many many web pages. When we create any account, we will have the options here, right? Like nationality, will choose the country name here, like such things. Okay, so this is the combination of 2 things. So we will be using the class which is combo box. Okay, so by using combo box, I'll be adding 3 things there. Add item means a list will be created. In that, the first thing is vanilla, then chocolate, then strawberry. Okay, and then I'll be adding this one in the content screen. Okay, after defining these 3 classes, what we'll be doing is we'll be running the main function, and then this will be displayed. Okay, based on what tab we select, that one will be opened. Okay, the next one is J scroll pane. Scroll pane means if you have zoomed in any website, at that time here 2 margins appear, right, which will have the scrolling button here. If you scroll this web page will go up and down, and from here if you scroll, it will go left and right. So that will initialize by using 3 steps. First one is create a component to be scrolled, means create the web page where you will have all the data which is to be scrolled. Then create an instance of J scroll pane. By using this class, we can add the margins here to scroll. Okay, and then add the scroll pane to the content pane. We will be creating this one and this one separately. At last we will add it to the content pane. Okay, so let's see the code. The code starts from here. The class name is here and the make GUI function. Inside that we will be adding 400 buttons to the panel. Okay, so it will be a big data, so that has to be zoomed. Okay, so then after adding the buttons by using 2 for loops, and what we will do is we will create a J scroll pane. That's it. This is the all code what we have to write, and after that we will add the scroll pane to the content pane. So the output will be like this. Here we will have a scrolling button to go up and down, and here we will be having a scrolling button to go right and left. Okay, these are the buttons from 0 to 400. Okay, so you will be scrolling this up and down or right or left. Okay, the next one is J list. J list means you might have seen a list here like this. We will scroll it and we will select the country name or any other name. Okay, so this is known as J list. How to implement this? Before that, let's see the constructor. The constructor is as follows. We will have the object array, means whatever we want to display here, that will be shown. Okay, in our case we will be using string array. In each string we will have the name of the country here. Okay, so let's see the code. In the code, before that you have to specify if you are doing a single collection, single interval selection, or multiple interval selection. Means basically if you are selecting one thing at a time, or if you are selecting multiple things at a time. Okay, that is to be specified. And after that, let's move on to the code. In the code we will create a class which is JList demo. Here we will have a list, a label, and a scroll pane. Okay, a label to show the name of the string, means name of the country. For that we will store all the city names like New York, Chicago, Houston, and Denver in all the cities. Okay, in the cities array, this all things will be stored, and by using this we will be converting the array into a list format. Okay, let's see how to do that. For that we will be using the make GUI function. In GUI, first we will set the layout, and then the list will be created. Okay, in the list the array of city will be passed, so that the array of city will be converted to a list type. Okay, then our task is to display this one. How to display that? Firstly we will set the selection mode, which is the single selection, and then we will add the scroll pane. Okay, if you don't add the scroll pane, it will be showing just a fixed view. Okay, if you want to scroll down also, you have to add a scroll pane here. Okay, that's what we are doing here. And after that we are setting the size here, and what it should show initially, choose a city. Okay, so that we are showing in the label. By using a label we will show that choose a city. And then when a selection is made, by using a listener, when a city is selected, that change will be tracked by the listener. And what should happen? If I selected any item, the index will be returned. Okay, I can get the index number of what item I have selected. By using that number, I can show on the screen what is the text associated with that. Okay, so that's what I am doing here. Current selection, and cities of index. Okay, so if I have selected the third city, at that time I can get this number by knowing which button I have pressed here, and when I get the index I will be calling the function to get the cities of 3. Okay, cities of 3 will give me the third city here. By that I will get the name of the city here, and that I will be setting the text. Okay, means in the output I will be showing what city I have selected. Okay, so that will be shown in the bottom. Okay, means if I have selected London, for example, and the index of London is like 7th, so what I will do is I will get the index by using the listener object, and when I get the index I will call the function for getting the cities of 7. That's an array here, so I'll get the text of what is present in cities of 7 array, and that will be displayed in the bottom. Okay, this is a very widely used component, which is you will have a text view here also, and you will have a image view here also. Okay, so what happens is if I select France, France flag will be shown. If I select Germany, Germany flag will be shown. If I select Italy, Italy flag will be shown. So here are two things. First one is panel, second one is image. So let's see how to implement that using a single component, that is known as combo box. If you want to implement two or more things at a single place, we can directly go with combo box. Firstly, the constructor will be as follows. The array will be there, means array of the names will be there, that will be converted to the list, and the associated flag will be shown here. Okay, so see here the code will be as follows. Firstly, will be writing the class name J combo box demo, and then a label is created and the image icon for each of these. If you have 4 images, we will be creating 4 image icons: France, Germany, Italy and Japan. Okay, then I am creating a combo box. In the flag array, I will have the name of the flags to be displayed: France, Germany, Italy and Japan. Okay, and after initializing these things, we will be going with the GUI function. In that I will set the layout, and after that I will pass in the combo box the array flags. Okay, so in the combo box I will have the names of the arrays by using a string, and after that I have to associate each of this name with the appropriate flag. How will I do that? To do that, what we have to do is we have to set an action listener. What it will do is whichever item we select, at that time the name of that item will be returned. Okay, we have defined the name already here. For France, France will be returned. For Germany, Germany will be returned. For Italy and for Japan, Japan will be returned. Okay, by using this, what we will do is whichever button I click, action listener will tell me which button I have clicked. Okay, by using that I can get the string, means the name of that button, and by using the name I can set the icon, means if it's France, then it will be like this. Okay, set the icon, new image icon, france.gif. So this location will be fetched in the memory, and that image will be sent to image icon, and that will be set. Okay, so this is the working of J combo box. Okay, so in the default we are not leaving it as empty, we are setting it as france.gif, and then if the user selects different country flag will be displayed. Okay, what is a table? Table is a set of rows and columns, right? How to implement a table in Swings? By using Swings is very easy. First we'll write the new GUI function and we'll initialize it. How we'll do is we'll have the column names. See, two things are there in a table. First, column names will be there, and then what is the data to be stored. First we'll initialize the column names like name, extension and ID, and then the data to be stored. Data will be as follows. Each row should have the name, extension and the ID. So we'll initialize the 2D array as follows. In the first row we'll have the name, extension and the ID, and same for the all other rows. Okay, by after initializing that we'll be using these both to create a table. Firstly we'll be using the keyword JTable to create a table, and then it will have the data and the column head as arguments. Okay, after we pass that, a table will be created based on the 2D array, and then finally we'll be adding the scroll pane also, because we have to scroll the table from up to down. Okay, so for that we'll be using a scroll pane, and finally we'll be adding the both things in the content pane. Okay, so the output will be as follows. Here we'll be having a scroll pane also, I forgot to draw. So here we'll be having the names and everything, and the scroll pane for the table. Okay.